All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the 5-day challenge. So today we're going to be talking about high converting copywriting. But before I jump into that, I want to give you guys a quick recap on days 1 and 2. So day 1 was all about the foundations that you really need to have in place. Hey, Sarah, welcome. Glad you could watch. Hey, Tyrone. Foundations that you need to have in place, such as knowing your numbers, creating a strong offer, and setting those goals so you actually know how to track the results of your advertising. Very important steps. So if you guys haven't gone back and done the homework for day 1, that is one of the most important pieces of homework all week. Day 2, we covered buyer personas or customer avatars and how to set those up as audiences in Facebook Ads Manager. So for those of you who aren't aware, Facebook Ads Manager does manage both Instagram ads as well as Facebook ads. So when we say Facebook Ads Manager, it's really for both platforms. But that was a really, really educational training. If you guys haven't watched that one, that is one you're going to want to go back and watch because it's going to directly relate to what we cover today. So today, like I said, high converting copywriting. Copywriting is one of the most important pieces because it literally goes everywhere. We want to go through every single asset that we have and really ask ourselves, can this copy be strengthened? Who am I writing this to? Is this really appealing to the why that they would have to buy my product or service? So we're actually going to go over some very tactical steps that you can take. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the presentation I put together for you guys so that you can really get the most out of our time together today. All righty. So first and foremost, like I mentioned, copywriting goes everywhere. It's in your video scripts. It's on your landing pages, your funnels, your websites. It's in your ads. It's in your emails. It's in your text message marketing. It's in direct mail pieces. Everything has writing related to it. And because of that, this needs to be a skill that you focus on first and foremost. It's also something that I have really realized people struggle with significantly, which is why using something like a framework for ad copy is a great way to take a structure that's proven to work and be able to easily sort of fill in the blanks based on that framework. So that's a lot of what we do in our local marketing mastery program is we go through different frameworks and examples, and it's very easy to be able to rewrite those or update those to simply match your business once you see something that's already working. So these are a couple of the key components that you really want to focus on with your copy. Number 1 is simply understanding why somebody would want to work with you. If somebody is going to buy from you, whether that's a product or a service, they have a reason. And not everyone has the same reason. And the reasons are more subconscious than they realize. It's your job as a business owner to really uncover the why behind your product and service. And if there are different reasons why, who do those apply to specifically? If I'm someone that simply doesn't care about one aspect of your product, I really care about another one. If you present me that aspect that I don't care about, I'm going to be far less likely to buy, even if it's something I need. So for example, maybe we've got something as simple as children's vitamins. So you're trying to sell children's vitamins and it's got a couple of really key points. Maybe it's all natural ingredients. There's no sugar, no artificial flavors, no GMOs, all the organic, natural ingredients that a lot of parents are looking for. But it's also fun shapes and it's got the different Nickelodeon characters and Disney princesses and all that jazz. So it's got a fun look and kids really love it. Maybe it tastes great. So those are 3 different aspects of the same product. Well, the truth is there are some parents that they really, really, really want something healthy for their child. They want reduced chemicals, reduced artificial aspects. And for that person, the why is because they want their child to be as healthy as possible and they want to do it in the most natural way. So that's their why. Then you've got somebody who they really, really, really just want to find something that tastes great for their kid, but most importantly, that their kid is going to take. And because of the fun shapes and colors, they're more inclined to do that. So if I'm presenting that aspect first and foremost, that's going to attract the parents who they want their kids to find a vitamin. All they really care about is that kids eat this because it tastes good and has fun flavors. If we were to present copywriting that was focused all around the health aspects, yes, you're going to capture those parents that care about those aspects most, but you're probably going to lose those that's not their key factor when making a decision. So really being able to understand the different whys behind your product or service and the copywriting aspects that can speak to those different angles that you can utilize in an ad, on a landing page, in an email. Those are all things that will allow you to convert more customers and make more sales. You also want to speak to the right avatar. So that's exactly what we just discussed with the vitamins. There are different whys, and usually your different avatars are going to have a different why. So the health parent, that is one avatar. The low maintenance, I just want my kid to eat a vitamin parent, that is another avatar. So if your business has multiple avatars, which is what we covered yesterday, you really need to consider what is their goal when it comes to my specific product or service, what matters to them the most. The next one is to have a really great headline, because the truth is that everything starts with the headline. And if the headline is simply an afterthought, you are going to maybe not have terrible results every single time, but you're going to be missing out on a lot of potential sales that could have been made. People read the headline to decide if they want to continue reading. I think all of us in the last several months have realized that all news stations have to do is come up with a great headline, and that communicates to their audience if it's something they want to share. Most people don't even actually look into the article, but that is the power of a good headline. It really does grab you, it brings attention to it, and it makes it more shareable, more relevant. A lot of people think that on an ad itself, that the headline is the headline area in Facebook Ads Manager. So I know that sounds a little funny, but the headline is really just the first line in that ad copy, because that's the first thing that someone is going to see, which will help them decide if they want to continue reading. You also want to show the transformation. Every single product or service offers a transformation, even if you don't realize it. And that's what people are buying for. That's the only reason people buy. It's either to give them something they don't yet have, or to rid them of something they currently have that they no longer want, or that they never wanted, such as a problem. So if you can showcase that transformation through your copy, you're going to see a lot more success. You also want to overcome objections. When you are advertising, you're not there to ask someone questions like, how do you feel about that? Can you tell me what you're thinking? Because of that, you're not going to know what objections they're going to have. If you don't address those in the copy without them having to ask you, you could potentially miss a lot of sales. The easiest objections to identify are, what are the objections that you hear before someone buys your product or service? Look at your real life business and the real life examples and say, do I see a pattern in terms of what people are asking about? If it's something about the price, then you need to justify the price. Maybe your ingredients are higher quality, or it's actually going to save them money long-term by having them invest in this thing. It could potentially be that it makes a lot more money. So of course, in what I do, finances are always a factor, but the truth is, if we can show someone that investing in their marketing is not an expense, it's an investment designed to make more money, then that is an easy way to overcome the objection. And it's the truth. So whatever it is that people typically get stuck on with your business, find out what those things are and really think about what is the best explanation to overcome this. And if you can't find an explanation, that means that you need to change something about the product or the service on your end, because there should be a justification for any potential objection related to your product or service. You also want to make it more about them. And it's easy to make it all about you sometimes. And there's definitely a place to talk about yourself and your business. But if you're really trying to show the transformation, then a lot of times that's what you're going to focus on in the copy. It doesn't mean it has to be a story about a customer or a client every single time, but you want to write from an angle that you ask yourself, what does my audience need to hear? Not what do I want to tell them? And that is what we do so many times without realizing it. The truth is that as business owners or someone that's heavily involved in a business and the marketing of that business, you are very close to it. And being close to it means that you're probably missing the forest for the trees. What I mean by that is you take for granted the knowledge that you already have about the product or service that's being sold. What you're not understanding is that your audience or your potential clients, they don't know anything about that. You've really got to start from the basics a lot of the time, but you have to meet them where they are with language that they understand. If there is a lot of complicated terminology or terms that they just simply wouldn't be aware of, you don't have to use it. You can find very simple ways to convey the exact same point, but industry jargon will lose people very quickly because they're just not going to get it. Things that you want to avoid in your ad copy is saying I, me, we, our, or my too much. And again, depending on the type of ad that you're running, maybe it is a story and you're telling it in first person. Well, that's totally fine. Ultimately, storytelling is one of those exceptions where you can focus on you if the story is about you, but it needs to tie directly into the audience and that transformation that you're providing them at the end. Not spending enough time on your copy is another big one. Obviously, no one wants to have to spend a lot of time writing ads or writing landing page copy. And there are absolutely ways to get faster at that, such as using templates or frameworks. Those are the things that I provide my students to try and expedite the process, but it's because it's already based on something that's worked really well. If everyone just rushed through their copy, that would be bad for everyone because this is such an important component of actually converting the sale. So I like to say that creative stops the scroll, but copy converts. And that is true. Even a video ad, that video script, that's copywriting, but the creative does have to get their attention. However, that creative will never convince someone on its own to buy. You need those written elements to get them to click, to take that next step and continue through the process that you've laid out for them. You also don't want to send the same exact type of copy to everyone. And not knowing what makes great copy is a problem. You really need to get as familiar as possible with what good copywriting looks like so that if yours isn't good, you know it. If someone writes copy for you that isn't good, you're going to be able to identify it. But most importantly, just like everything else in the world, the more you expose yourself to it and study it, the better you're going to be at it. A lot of people, like I said early on, struggle with copywriting. They feel like they're not a natural writer. They feel like they sit down and they don't know what to say. They just stare at the computer. But the truth is that you do not have to be a great writer or a natural copywriter to be able to write great copy. What you do need to be able to do is identify successful copy and model it to fit your business. You do not have to reinvent the wheel, but you do need to be aware that the wheel exists and that there is a template for it out there and you need to find a way to use it yourself. So what are the most important aspects of copy? So headlines, like I said, the first thing somebody's going to see, and it's going to be the thing that gets them excited to read the rest or to dive deeper. Bullet points are incredibly important. They are going to be able to convey things in a much more succinct fashion that people can easily skim through, but also pack a big punch. And that's really important, especially on social media. You don't always have the ability to keep their attention for an extended period of time. So a lot of times a single paragraph, maybe a thick paragraph, could be reduced into a single succinct bullet point, and you would get a lot more readers to finish that piece of copy. Product descriptions such as feature, benefit, and what that means. That's also an example of a type of bullet point, but in reference to your product specifically, you really need to map those out. Asking questions in your copy is very powerful. the best way to know what questions to ask is to listen to the questions your business is already being asked. Just like we talked about, if you're not sure what someone's objection is to your product or service, you need to open your ears and start listening to them, because everyone has them. Maybe you're not asking people to share their objections if you don't know what they are. That's also a bad thing, because you can't overcome an objection that you don't know exists. So really start to look at what questions are being asked of you online, on your website. What questions does your sales team get? What questions does your in-store staff get? Keep a running list of those things. And a lot of times you can open with those questions. You also want to really start to get good at asking questions that will elicit the type of response that you want to get them in the mindset to accept this information that's going to come next. So what I mean by that is, how can you phrase a question that gets them to realize they need what you do without telling them what you do? It could be as simple as, wouldn't it be so nice if your business had a way to turn up a dial, get more leads, and make more sales? Well, absolutely. Their answer is going to be yes, yes. That is a simple question that puts them in the state of mind to want to read the rest. It could be something such as, is your sales team messaging you daily asking when more leads are going to come in? Do you not have an answer to give them? That's highlighting the problem, but it's in a question format. Questions can be very powerful, and oftentimes they're more well received than statements, because it's asking someone to look internally for the answer. So you're not giving them the answer, they're answering it for themselves. And if you've phrased that question correctly, you're going to be able to get that mental outcome that you're looking for. So these are a few types of ad copy. So one type is easy, direct promotion. We're just going to say exactly what the offer is, who it's for, what the details are, and tell them what to do next. This type of direct promotion is not going to work for every business. It's not going to work for every audience. It's not going to work for every offer. But if you have an offer that you feel like is strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet, that doesn't need a lot of explanation or convincing, or you have a really strong, warm audience, this can be a great type of ad copy. Problems and solutions is another great one. So you're really going to start with the big problems. You're really going to harp on those problems and agitate them, and then seamlessly lead into the solutions that you provide to solve those problems. Emotional is another one. Typically, that's going to come in a storytelling format. Storytelling really is its own section. Ultimately, you can make any of these storytelling in a way, but emotional tends to be the most storytelling style. Funny stories, that's also a thing, but I find that people often struggle to actually make them funny, and they kind of fall flat a lot of the time. So unless you're just really confident in your ability to write humor, I wouldn't start there. Big benefit is kind of the opposite of problems and solutions. We're starting with the big benefits, and those benefits should solve those same problems, but you're leading with those benefits as opposed to leading with the problems. And then logical is another example. This is really based on data, statistics, facts, clear, black and white, concrete evidence, so to speak, that this is what they need to be doing. And that can work for a lot of businesses, but there are definitely some that it works better for than others. Anything that has a natural element of emotion to it already, that's something that I would lean into, because emotion moves people a lot more than virtually anything else, in my opinion. It's just not going to be a good fit for every type of ad and every type of scenario. So use it when you can. Start testing your storytelling skills. It does not take a master storyteller to learn how to write about your own experiences and tie them in to what you do. These are some different headlines that you guys can test out. These are some tried and true, so to speak, formulas for headlines. How to get blank. That is very simple, very straightforward. But if your product or service helps them get blank, what could possibly be more compelling? So you also have the how to get blank in as little as blank. And in as little as would be in as little as 7 days, and as little as 30 days, and as little as 90 days, whatever it is, that's for someone who has a specific time frame related to what they do. It also could be about a seminar or a webinar. So if I were doing this about my challenge that you're in right now, I could say how to get the fundamental local advertising knowledge you need in as little as 5 days. So 5 days is the time frame, so I can add that in there. How to blank in as little as blank, even if you blank. How to master local marketing in as little as 5 days, even if you have never run an online ad in your life. So that is supposed to give people confidence that even if they have overcome or have experienced certain challenges before, or even if they're inexperienced in general, that this can still work for them. You're basically saying, hey, you may not think this applies to you, but I'm telling you it does. People will often underestimate their own skill, their own ability, their own knowledge, a lot of different things that relate to a lot of different products. If you're selling health and fitness, anything, that naturally has a lot of self-doubt attached to it because people have tried and tried and tried, and often they failed. Does that mean health and fitness doesn't work? Absolutely not. It means they haven't had the right person to help them. Very similar to marketing. I mean, every person I've ever spoken to virtually has been burned by an agency before or tried running ads and never saw any results. It's everywhere. I mean, that is the single most common thread that ties everyone we work with together. They've all failed in some respect in the past, or they've never attempted it in any way. And that is honestly a smaller percentage. So if this were me, I would say how to get a strong return on investment from your Facebook ads in as little as 5 days, even if you failed with every other agency before, or even if you failed with every Facebook ad you've ever published. So you're trying to show someone with this type of headline that they can in fact use this or do this. How every blank can blank. How every local business owner can successfully market online. 5 quick and easy ways to master Facebook advertising. 3 ways to get blank and avoid blank. 3 ways to get a stronger return on investment from your advertising spend and avoid wasted money and loss. Blank mistakes every blank should avoid. Facebook advertising mistakes every local business owner should avoid. So all of these are very simple. It's really like a plug and play template. What's the concept? Who's the audience? What are they trying to avoid? Is there a time frame? So here's the perfect solution if you want to finally see a steady stream of leads and customers for your local business. Warning, don't advertise on Facebook without reading this first. My proven method to help local businesses succeed with online marketing. So this can work for anyone. These are very simple and they don't take a lot of thought to be able to implement. And they really don't take a lot of thought because it's right here for you. This is a framework. This is a template that you can use. And that is the power of modeling something, being able to see a successful framework and simply apply it to your business. And that is very, very important with copywriting, especially if you don't feel naturally inclined to be able to do it. So these are the 10 most common reasons why someone would buy anything. Okay, number 1, to help them make money. Number 2, to help them save money. Number 3, help them save time, avoid effort, escape mental or physical pain, get more comfort, achieve greater cleanliness or health, gain praise, feel more loved, or increase in popularity or status. These are all tied to our basic human needs. If you have a product or service, you should be able to think of at least one way for almost every single one of these that your product or service will help someone. Make money is probably the only one that may not apply to certain people. And then some people, that's going to be the primary thing that they help them with. It really depends. But in all honesty, you should be able to write something for just about every single item on this list. You can make it even more fun if you try and write out 10 things for every single item on this list. The benefit there is that those initial things that you're thinking of, they're going to be thought of by everyone else already. The deeper you dig, the more creative reasons you're going to come up with. So let's use this as an example. So make money, reasons why someone would buy. I'll show you how marketing your business online can help you make money. Very easy. That's one of the main benefits of what I do. Okay, save money. Let me show you how much money you will save on ineffective advertising by working with me. Save time. Don't try and figure out Facebook and Instagram ads on your own. Let me expedite the process with my proven templates and frameworks. Avoid effort. You don't have to work so hard to figure out the right marketing strategy for your business. I'll lay it all out for you, show you exactly what to do, and save effort in helping you implement that with all of my resources and templates. Escape mental or physical pain. So this one could be a really important one. Are you lying awake at night wondering if your business is going to survive 2020? Are you stressed about the fact that your sales team or your staff isn't sure if their job's going to exist much longer? Are you worried about making payments on your business card because the revenue hasn't been coming in? Are you tired of seeing an empty pipeline every day and wondering how you're supposed to make money when no one is showing interest in your product or service? So that is the mental pain that someone can escape. Physical pain, not really something that I necessarily would help someone with. Definitely, I can show you how to do some good yoga neck exercises from sitting at the computer all day, but that's about it. Get more comfort. So when your business is finally producing leads on autopilot, turning into scheduled calls, scheduled appointments, or foot traffic, you no longer have to spend every day and every hour at the office. Take some time off to relax. Sit around in your pajamas for an entire day, knowing that your ads are working for you. Achieve greater cleanliness or health. I would really talk about the fact that the stress and anxiety of trying to do all these things while running a business can actually have very serious health impacts, and it can. Gain praise. Gaining praise is going to come from people being thankful that your business still exists. Your employees are going to be so thankful that they're working for someone like you who is committed to doing every possible thing to keep the business going, growing, and allow them to be able to provide for their families. You know, your husband, your wife, your kids, your partner, whoever is going to love the fact that you have built such an amazing business from all of your hard work and that you're finally able to relax and enjoy some of the perks of being your own boss. Feel more loved, very similar concept, and then increase in popularity or status. So when people are successful in terms of business, they naturally feel an increase in status because they're doing something for themselves. They're working hard. They're creating opportunity. And the downside of that is when you don't feel like everything is going the way that you would like it to, that can make you feel a little bit lower in status, even if things are relatively the same. So part of this is mental for the business owner. And then part of this is, you know, drive your kids to school in your brand new Mercedes or Lamborghini or whatever it is that, you know, speaks to you personally. But ultimately, that's not necessarily something that I like to talk about as much within my own business because I don't really feel like that's the most important aspect. But ultimately, like you just saw, I was able to, off the top of my head, come up with a reason for every single one of these. But again, the more reasons you can come up with, the deeper you're going to go and the more creatively you're going to be thinking. So that's definitely what I would encourage you guys to do. We also really want to tailor our messaging to the traffic temperature. So we only have 5 days together, meaning I can't share everything possible about online marketing, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, but traffic temperatures are very important. There is a video that I posted yesterday in the group, and it's on the 3-level ad strategy for local businesses. So give that a watch if you haven't seen it already, because that really is going to explain quite a bit of those traffic temperatures and the different ad levels that we use. But ultimately, cold traffic, they're people that don't know you. They've never engaged with you, completely just oblivious to who you are or what you do. Warm audience, those are people that do know who you are or have at least engaged with you once or twice. They're familiar. They may not be raging fans or ready to buy right this second, but they very well could be. And they already have a little bit of that association with you and your business. Hot is going to be people who've already bought from you, active leads who are scheduling appointments, really interested in moving forward. And maybe they already have, and maybe they're about to. So those are your best prospects potentially, but they've at least been exposed to you several different times. They've done actions that have a higher intent, such as going to your booking page on your website. Someone would not be there if they weren't considering doing it. So whether they scheduled or not, that's showing a high intent action. The truth is your copywriting needs to be different for different types of people, because someone who knows you extremely well versus someone who's never heard of you, knows nothing about what you do, you simply would not have the same conversations. So pretend we're in the real world. I know we're all digital now, but pretend you're just out and about having conversations with people, and someone says, hey, I had a friend ask about what you do. I wasn't sure exactly what to tell them. I told them a little bit, but what's a better description? That is more like a kind of like a cold, kind of like a warm, because they've already told them a bit, but it's someone who they had no idea. Or it's somebody who just walks up to you in the store and you start talking and they say, hey, what do you do? What would you say to that person? How would you approach that person to give them the basic understanding of why your business is even necessary? This really follows the buying cycle and the awareness levels in so many ways. We're not going to have time to really dive into those, but ultimately, you need to focus on the problem first for people who don't know who you are, because if they don't know you or your business, they may not even know that there's a problem. So you have to be able to show them this is a major problem and this is why it needs to be solved right now. Someone who is already familiar with you, they likely know about the problem. You really want to focus a bit more on those solutions. Hot traffic, you could ultimately lump them in terms of copywriting with warm, but usually it's going to be even more specific, and it's going to focus on some of those smaller details like pricing or the details of your offer, maybe some type of bonus, or maybe there's a date that's expiring this offer, some of those more specific details, because they've already shown that they have an interest in that. If you can really match up the way that you're speaking to your audience with how much they most likely know about you, you're definitely going to see an increase in results. And using that 3-level ad strategy is really how we do that and how we identify who knows and who doesn't. So bullet points, we'll move through these pretty quickly, but they are very important. Curiosity, they're going to grab attention, and they can convey information very quickly and effectively, which is the most important aspect. We live in a society where people like to scan. They don't dig into reading very often. So some people still do, absolutely. But even if you have long ad copy, you want to break that up into short paragraphs, like 2 sentences, maybe 3 at the most, and really space it out so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming to the eye. And bullet points are a great way to do that. These are a few ways that you can use bullet points right after a headline. Summarize what someone's going to learn, give them those benefits, give them a reason to keep reading, and potentially summarize the purchase. So think about articles that you read in news sources. They've got the headline, you click on it, they may give you a summary of the article in bullet points, the very first thing. And that's a way for you to maybe consume some of the information, even if you decide you don't want to read. But it also gets someone more interested because they want to learn how you came to those bullet points, how you came to those conclusions. This is a really quick bullet point formula that I would encourage all of you guys to use. So do this for the products or services that you sell first. So feature, what it is. What is this? Then the benefit, what it does, and the meaning, why it matters to the audience. So a feature of my mentorship program is that we do 3 live calls together every week between 2 and 3 hours per call. Okay, so get 3 live calls every week for a year. That's my feature. Benefit, no longer feel stuck on any aspect of your marketing. And then meaning, why it matters, because you have someone to help you every step of the way. You no longer have to feel alone. So that is the feature, benefit, meaning. You can do that for all the different aspects of what you sell. There's probably 50 features of each one of my services, but I'm not going to focus on all 50. I'm going to focus on the ones that are most important, that are the core of the offer itself. But I can't just say 3 live calls per week. Content library, creative library, frameworks, templates, that it's just not as exciting. You know, frameworks for copy, creative, video scripts, and more to help you execute quickly so you can start seeing better results from your ads faster. So that's the difference between a feature and a real bullet point talking about what the audience truly wants to know. So today's homework is number 1, start to pay attention to great copy online. You can create a swipe file. You can save ads or posts that you see online, and Instagram and Facebook, lots of other platforms have that feature. So that's a really simple way to start your own swipe file. If you are noticing it and paying attention to it, the copy specifically, you can also have one for creative. You want to be able to reference it later because, again, modeling is one of the easiest ways to improve in any area of your life. Take someone who's doing it well and then copy what they're doing, not exactly, make it focus on your business, add your own flair, add your own examples, all of that good stuff. It should not be an exact copy of anyone's content, but the structure, the framework, that's what we're looking for here. We do have a copywriting worksheet that I'm going to post in the group for anybody who wants it. And that's going to focus on bullet points, the reasons why, and headlines, just to give you something if you want to print it out and really go through it. You could obviously fill it out digitally, but I'm a big fan of pen and paper. So for all my fellow pen and paper writers, that one's for you. And then I'd also encourage you to really separate these different aspects into what you believe would be best for a cold traffic person, someone who doesn't know you, versus someone who does know you, or maybe even someone who is about to work with you or has already reached out in the past. And then number 4, try and see if you can come up with any of those variations from the copywriting worksheet for different avatars. Because again, each avatar is going to have its unique set of things that they value most, things that really drive their curiosity or drive their interest, get that sense of urgency going. So you want to find out what those are. And a lot of times they're the emotional aspects that are under the surface of your product and service. So we've talked a lot about examples from my business today. A very surface level example would be get better at Facebook and Instagram ads. That's just very surface level. Okay, we can go one layer deeper and we can say, make more money from your Facebook and Instagram ads. Still pretty surface level. Get a great return on investment from your marketing budget to put $1 in and get $4 out. That's a little bit more surface level, but really, if we go back to the core of it, it's all about helping business owners no longer have to think about this every single day and create something that's going to work for them to free up their mental space, to free up their time, but most importantly, allow their business to succeed on their terms. They have control over the growth of their business for the first time ever. And that's a really liberating feeling for business owners. And if that's not something I talk about, I would be doing a disservice to my audience because they may not even realize that that's possible. So your copywriting can really open the eyes of your audience to things that exist already, but are not being talked about in the actual community very often, or maybe other people aren't communicating those different points. And you can make this something that is very unique to you and really differentiate yourself through your copywriting. So there's a lot of different types of ad copy that we could go through. I really like playing around with ad copy. I'm testing some stuff right now. Ultimately, we don't have time to go through all of that, but I want you guys to really be thinking about everything we've talked about today, finding ways to model successful copy that catches your attention and post them in the group. I want to see what you come up with, and always happy to answer questions. Tomorrow is going to be really exciting. We're going to go over creative, video, images, boomerangs, all of that good stuff. So we'll really be diving into what some of those images and videos can look like, what makes them work, what you need to avoid. And that paired with the copywriting is really going to allow you to have an ad that stops the scroll and converts. On Friday, we'll talk about how to turn those leads into sales. So you're definitely going to want to be on that one. Again, it's been great hanging out with you guys today. Make sure you drop #live or #replay so I know you were here. And again, if you guys are interested in learning more about what I do, how I help local businesses, local marketers, and agencies, I'd love to talk to you. There should be a link in the cover photo if you want to click on it. Probably a couple other areas in the group as well, but definitely give me a shout if you have any questions, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Bye-bye.